What's going on, guys? This is Jack, coach of the Wenatchee Wobbuffets, bringing you our LSBA Season 4 Week 1 Team Builder versus Team Swagnemite, coached by Rasha. His team you see over on the left. There, he has a very bulky team, very stallish team with Toxapex, regular Doug Trio, Mega Sableye, Skarmory, Clefable, Chansey, Amoonguss, Quagsire, Vaporeon, Alolan Muck, and Shedinja. Looking at his team, the Mons that I am most worried about is, for one, Doug Trio, because almost all of my offensive Mons, Doug Trio hits super effectively with Earthquake, can trap them, and basically just destroy them. Doug Trio generally runs one of two sets, either Focus Sash or Choice Band. I don't really expect him to bring Focus Sash just because although it would allow him to live one hit, it does miss out on a lot of OHKOs. Like with my Tarantula, which you see over here, it can live a Focus Sash Earthquake, but it cannot live a Choice Banded Earthquake. Similar to a lot of other Pokemon, so I'm really expecting it to be Choice Banded rather than Focus Sash. Another Pokemon that really worries me is that Clefable. Just because it makes a great unaware wall, and as you can see here, we do have our Manaphy, and so Clefable, as well as Chansey, can provide a lot of problems for that. So going into the team, basically, so what you see here is my Manaphy, and my entire team is wrapped around setting up for Manaphy to sweep. As you see, we have the Waterium Z with Rain Dance, so that Z Rain Dance, the EVs you see there allow me to outspeed a Doug Trio after I am at +1 with the Rain Dance. And of course the rest of his team is really slow anyways, so basically I only had to aim to outspeed that Doug Trio after +1, and then I'm good to go. And then you see that Tail Glow, of course, to boost my special attack. Surf for maximum damage output. I was thinking about Scald, but I really needed that extra power with Surf, and I'm not too worried about getting burns on his team. Yeah, chip damage would be nice. However, I wanted the extra damage with Surf. And then Psychic to be able to hit stuff like Toxapex, like Amoonguss, and stuff like that. Basically, if I can get to +3, then I can 2-hit KO, if not OHKO, most of the things on his team, barring Chansey, Clefable, and Toxapex. And Vaporeon, I believe. If I get to +6 all the way up, then Chansey is 2-hit KO'd by Surf in the rain. Vaporeon is 2-hit KO'd by Psychic. Toxapex is OHKO'd by Psychic. And the only Mon that can still take hits while I'm totally set up is Clefable and Quagsire, basically. I'm not too worried about Quagsire because, one, if he brings Unaware, which is what his most likely bring, if he were to bring it, then I could still hit him with Surf, which is still pretty powerful, and Quagsire isn't as bulky as Clefable, so even so Surf in the rain, even with the Unaware, would still be a 2-hit KO. If he brought Water Absorb to be able to be immune to the Surf, then at +6, Psychic OHKOs him anyways. So I really don't think he's going to bring Quagsire. I think he's going to favor Clefable over that for the check to Manaphy. So like I said, even at +6, because of Unaware, Surf does not 2-hit KO Clefable if he's fully specially defensive, even in the rain. So basically, the entire rest of my team is designed to slowly get the chip damage on stuff like Clefable and other Mons to allow Manaphy to be able to come in and set up for free, and then sweep this team. I have a feeling he's going to know this, so he's going to have a lot of some Mons with like Roar or Haze and stuff like that. So I got to be really careful when exactly I set up to make sure that I can set up safely. Chansey is the number one Mon I can set up on because I don't think it gets any phasing moves, and if it does, then I'm going to be totally caught off guard, but I'm pretty sure it doesn't. It can't T-Wave me or Toxin me because once I'm in the rain, because of my hydration ability, I'm basically immune to status. That's another thing I mentioned. Another thing I forgot to mention. Since his team is so stally, He can't status me and like toxic stall my Manaphy at all because I'm in the rain. So basically that just counters one aspect of his team. So yeah, as I go into the rest of the team builder, keep in mind that all these mons are basically designed to get that chip damage to allow Manaphy to set up and sweep. The next mon I'm bringing here is my Concussions, the Tyrantrum with the Choice Band. This thing is just a monster with Head Smash. Like with Head Smash, I OHKO a lot of his team. I think the only mons that I don't OHKO with Choice Banded Head Smash is Mega Sableye, if he's fully physical defensive, and fully physically defensive Toxapex. And possibly Vaporeon, but I don't think that's the case. This thing just like demolishes what's ever in front of it. And like I mentioned, even though Mega Sableye can take a Choice Banded Head Smash, the amount of damage it does, I think it does about 70%. So then even if I go for the Head Smash, he burns me. Even with the half damage from the burn, I still kill him with that second Head Smash. So I'm not too worried about having to face it in Mega Sableye. And as you see over here, we do have the Licky to be able to cure off any burns that or T-Wave, stuff like that I might accumulate. Basically, this thing is just here to wreck holes through his team and just destroy some things. Next one I have here is my Nidoking, Elvis Presley, with Sludge Wave, Earth Power, Flamethrower, and Toxic Spikes. Now, I might regret bringing Toxic Spikes on this. I might want the coverage in T-Bolt. However, like I mentioned, I really need the chip damage on this team, and especially if I have the Toxic Spikes up and it's Manaphy versus Clefable, and the Clefable is still at full health because he played it really well, I'm going to really want the Toxic Spikes on to allow Clefable to get worn down over time so that Manaphy can break through it. And then I know he also has a Toxapex and an Amoonguss on his team that can absorb the T-Spikes, as well as a Skarmory, so I'm really going to have to play really conservatively with this Nidoking to make sure that I still have the ability to put up the Toxic Spikes anytime throughout the match so that I can keep those up and allow to get chip damage on his team. Another thing to be worried about is the Mega Sableye. He can switch that in at any time and then put Toxic Spikes up on my side of the field, but that's just a risk that we got to play with. Basically, the rest of these moves are Sludge Wave and Earth Power for stab, Earth Power hits stuff like Toxapex, stuff like Alola Muck. Sludge Wave hits Clefable basically, and neutral damage on Amoonguss and stuff like that. I originally did have Thunderbolt on this team when he used to have Mantine instead of Vaporeon. He did trade that out. T-Bolt would have been able to break through that. However, he did trade it out for Vaporeon, and I may still want Thunderbolt on this team to be able to hit stuff like Vaporeon and get some neutral damage on Toxapex in case I predict a switch out, but he stays in. Thunderbolt would have been a nice neutral play. And Thunderbolt was also there for Skarmory. However, with the lack of the Mantine, I felt like Flamethrower would have been better because I could still hit Skarmory, which otherwise walls the set because it's immune to both Sludge Wave and Earth Power. And if I had T-Bolt and I went for that against Skarmory, he might be able to predict that and get a free switch into Dugtrio, and then, of course, trap me and OHKO me. So I really wanted Flamethrower to make sure that he doesn't get that free switch in on Dugtrio. Next one I have here is Tootsie the Licky with Wish, Heal Bell, Protect, and Knockoff. He basically has nothing for this thing. The only chance he has to be able to break through this is if I play it extremely badly, or I run out of heal bells basically, and then he toxic stalls me. Because the only offense he has on his team is Alola Muck and Dugtrio, and I guess Shedinja if I allow it to set up a couple Swords Dances, but I mean it's a Shedinja, so. But yeah, like that's the only offense he has on his team, and they're both physically offensive. And this EV Sped fully max physical defense just allows me to take hits for those for days. Even Choice Band Dugtrio with Earthquake does not 2-hit KO me. And Knockoff, even though it's like not offensive. It's still like a 3-hit KO on the Dugtrio. I think it does like 50% on the first one, and then of course he doesn't have an item anymore, and then like the next two would eventually kill. A little Muck, obviously, it would take a lot longer to kill because it is more bulky and it resists the knockoff. However, it still can't break through my Licky. So this thing is basically here to keep my team healthy. Make sure heal bell to make sure stuff like Tyrantrum and Nidoking don't get burned. Make sure my Mew doesn't get toxic. If I play Manaphy badly and bring it in too early and it gets a little too much chip damage, I could switch out Wish and heal bell it off, make sure it stays nice and healthy. And yeah, basically Tootsie is just here to make sure that my hold, in case I make any dumb mistakes, they don't cost me the match. Oh, I forgot to mention the EV spread for Nidoking. The speed you have here, the fastest mon on his team other than the trio is, I think, Skarmory, if I'm not mistaken, at base like 70 speed. And chances are he's not going to be running speed on it. However, I did invest this speed, 188 speed you see right here, to make sure that if he decides to get cheeky and run like Timid Vaporeon with max speed, I can still outspeed that. I probably won't end up needing it, but I just threw it on there because just in case. Don't want to regret not having that speed on there in case he decides to speed creep me. Next one we have is the Jupiter. Physically defensive. Here to take on the Dugtrio. So Dugtrio with Arena Trap, that only affects mons that are grounded, so flying type mons and mons with Levitate are immune to the Arena Trap. So he cannot actually trap the Zapdos, and my thinking is, I'm of course immune to the Earthquake unless I roost. Actually no, because he's faster than me, so yeah, I would roost after the Earthquake. So I'm immune to the Earthquake. Obviously I don't have Hidden Power Ice on here, which would do more damage. However, the Heat Wave does enough damage to 2-hit KO anyways, so not a huge deal. So basically this one is here to keep hazards off my side of the field, because I have a feeling that he might want to set up Toxic Spikes or just regular Spikes or Stealth Rock, stuff like that. So Defog to keep those off my side of the field. Roost for longevity. Thunderbolt with 100 special attack investment guarantees the 2-hit KO on Toxapex. And I believe, I don't remember, I had never counted for Vaporeon, but it also hits Vaporeon very well. Heatwave for coverage. Make sure Shedinja isn't. Make sure Shedinja doesn't wall me completely. Hits Amoonguss. Hits the Dugtrio, of course. And overall, just like coverage. So, say I either get a free switch into Dugtrio because he probably just killed something, or I'm in on Dugtrio anyways. Focus Sash Dugtrio does not 2-hit KO me with the Stone Edge. However, Choice Banded Stone Edge does 2-hit KO me. However, since I'm not immune to the Arena Trap, I can scout for that Stone Edge. And I don't think even a crit kills me, just in case that he does get a crit. I see he's locked into Stone Edge, and I can easily switch out into my Licky here, or into another mon that can take it, take the Stone Edge, and then be able to fire off something back. But yeah, this mon is basically here just to keep the hazards off my side of the field, and be an overall bulky check/pivot into Dugtrio, or from Dugtrio. And then my last mon here is the Mew. I was thinking Infernape with Shed Shell, with basically the same set you see right here. I was thinking Infernape mostly because I needed something that could break through Chansey, which of course Infernape does. However, even though I had the Shed Shell on it, and I could have switched out of Dugtrio, it just felt like another liability, another mon that I had to be worried about. For Dugtrio, you guys are obviously noticing that Dugtrio is like the the center point of my focus for this entire team builder, because I'm not really worried about the stallage part of his team. I have a lot of wall breakers, and I can handle those relatively easily, so I'm not worried about those as much. Dugtrio is the problem because it destroys so many of my wall breakers, so that when I lose those, I can't break through his team anymore. Yeah, so yeah, Mew's here instead of Infernape, because like like I was saying, it just felt like another mon that I had to play around Dugtrio, play more carefully, play safe. And even with the Shed Shell, I just felt like I didn't want that anymore. And I figured Mew could accomplish relatively the same job that Infernape was doing. So the Infernape set was Stealth Rock, Taunt, Close Combat, and Flamethrower. Close Combat, of course, for that Chansey. But then I threw in Mew. We'll see how it does. Of course, in lieu of the Close Combat, I do have Super Fang, because that does more to Chansey than like Drain Punch would have on the Mew. And it would help. It's going to help me. The Super Fang is going to help me break through other mons of his team, like Toxapex, like Clefable, Vaporeon, Alola Muck, stuff like that. And then Flamethrower is there for basically for the Skarmory. This EV spread with 200 attack makes it so that Flamethrower is a 2-hit KO on the Dugtrio. Taunt is there because, of course, he's a Stally. He has a Stally team, so he's going to want to toxic stuff. He's going to want to recover. He's going to want to protect, stuff like that. So Taunt's going to be able to break through that. And Stealth Rock is there. He has a really bulky team, and Stealth Rocks aren't really going to matter too much in the game. Like, chip damage is always nice. However, he has a lot of Regenerator Core, as well as the Stealth Rocks don't really guarantee or disguarantee any one-hit KOs. So those are mostly there to break Dugtrio's Sash in case he does bring Sash Dugtrio. Again, Stealth Rocks aren't too pivotal in this match, but it'll be nice if I get those up in case Nidoking is not able to get up his Toxic Spikes. So yeah, that's my team. Basically, this is Manaphy team, built around Manaphy, trying to get that nice and set up. Mons I'm worried about, once again, Dugtrio, Mega Sableye, or I should say the Mons I think he's going to bring. I think he's going to bring Toxapex, Dugtrio, Mega Sableye, Skarmory, Clefable, and Chansey. Basically those first 6 Mons you see right there. Like I said, he could bring the Quagsire. I don't think he would. And actually looking at my team, if he does bring the Quagsire, it could be relatively problematic. But I really don't think he brings it. Vaporeon he could bring. Alola Muck he might want to bring in case he wants Pursuit Trap and stuff like that. And Assault Vest Alola Muck can be pretty bulky. Shedinja he could bring if he wants to be a little cheeky with it, but I really don't think he does. And even if he does, he's killed by Stealth Rocks as well as Toxic Spikes. And I believe 5 of my 6 Mons carry coverage for Shedinja, so I'm not really worried about that. But yeah, so that's my team. I'm really looking forward to the Season 4 of the LSBA. Really looking forward to my match with Rasha. And talk to you guys next time.